She left her car running in the driveway. I watched the headlights carve long shadows through the blinds, listened to the engine idle for a full 2 minutes before she finally cut it. I didn't move. Didn't get up. I just sat there at the kitchen table, staring at the half-empty wine glass she left before going out. Lipstick still fresh on the rim. Different shade than she wore this morning. When the door opened, she didn't step in cautiously. She floated in. The kind of gait you have when you think you're untouchable. Purse dangling from one elbow, dress riding a little too high on her thighs, hair mess of curls that had clearly been gripped by someone who wasn't me. She froze when she saw me. Not the freeze of fear or guilt. It was more like the irritation you'd get when you walk into the wrong room during a party and find someone using the bathroom with the door unlocked. Like I was the one out of place. Seriously, she said, and her voice dripped with contempt. You're just sitting there in the dark like some kind of creep? I didn't answer her. Not at first. I stood up slowly and I could feel something twisting in my gut, tight and acidic. Not rage. Not even sadness. It was something older, something cold. I called Jess, I said. Her eyes flickered, just a twitch, before she snorted. Congratulations. She said she hasn't seen you in months. Said she was home with her kids all night. Amanda didn't even pretend. She rolled her eyes, turned her back to me, and walked toward the hallway. Her heels clicked with each step, deliberate and unbothered. I followed. Where were you? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She tossed her purse onto the couch. Out. With who? She turned then. Slowly. That smirk she always used when she thought she was smarter than everyone else started to creep back onto her face. You really want the answer? I hesitated. And she smiled wider. Travis, she said. From the gym. Yeah. That guy. We went out. We did what people do. And you know what? It was fun. Way more fun than sitting in this museum of a house with someone who doesn't even see me anymore. My throat went dry. She stepped closer like she was daring me to do something. You wanted honesty, right? And then she leaned in and said the one thing I will never forget for as long as I live. Maybe if you were half the man he is, I wouldn't have had to go looking. There was silence after that. Thick, suffocating silence. She turned away and headed to the bedroom like we just finished a boring conversation about groceries. But something snapped. Not in a violent way. Not in a dramatic movie scene way. Just quiet. Internal. Like a circuit that decided to shut down without warning. I didn't follow her. I didn't sleep either. Instead, I sat on the couch and waited for morning. Because something in me had changed permanently. And she hadn't noticed a thing. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. Amanda walked into the kitchen barefoot, tying her robe around her waist, yawning like she'd just returned from a spa weekend instead of crawling in at 2:47 a.m. after screwing another man. She poured herself coffee, humming. The same woman who less than 8 hours ago had looked me dead in the eye and said she preferred him, Travis. I was still on the couch. Same spot. I hadn't moved. My back ached. My mind was dead quiet. Not numb. Not shocked. Just hollow. She looked over at me once, took a sip of her coffee, and went, Are you really going to sulk all day? No apology. No explanation. Not even the courtesy of pretending like she'd crossed a line. That's the thing people never talk about when they describe betrayal. It's not just the cheating. It's the sheer audacity of the disrespect after you catch them. You said you wanted honesty, she added, like that was her trump card. So I gave it to you. You're welcome. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Every word I wanted to say felt like it would bounce off her like a rubber ball against stone. She leaned against the counter and took out her phone. Started scrolling. Then chuckled at something and muttered, God, Travis is hilarious. That name again. Like a dagger to the ribs, except she didn't care where she was stabbing. She was proud of it. Proud of him. Proud that she humiliated me and thought I was too pathetic to do anything about it. I finally spoke. How long has it been going on? She didn't look up. Couple months. I stared at her, searching for something, shame, regret, even anger, but there was nothing. Just smug detachment. A woman who decided somewhere along the way that I was no longer worth basic human decency. Why? That got her attention. She looked up from her phone and smiled, that same cold smile from the night before. Because I wanted to. Because I could. Because it felt good to be wanted again, to feel like I mattered. Travis makes me feel like I'm alive. You? You make me feel like a ghost in my own house. I felt it again, that slow, mechanical shutting down of something inside me. She tilted her head. Come on, Daniel. Don't act surprised. You stopped trying years ago. I never stopped loving you, I said quietly. That's not the same, she snapped like I'd insulted her. You loved the version of me that did what you wanted, that stayed small, quiet, routine. I grew up. You didn't. Then she looked back at her phone. That was it. Conversation over. I stood up and walked out the front door. Needed air. Needed space. I didn't even take my phone. I just walked. Past the neighbors' houses, past the high school where we used to sit in the parking lot making promises we never kept. I walked until the world stopped spinning, until I could breathe again without tasting blood. She cheated. She didn't regret it. And now I had to decide if I was going to let her keep spitting on the life I built with her, or if I was finally ready to tear it all down and rebuild without her. I didn't go back until the sun was almost down. When I stepped through the door, the house was quiet. Too quiet. Amanda wasn't in the kitchen, wasn't in the living room. Her coffee mug was still sitting on the counter, half full. Cold. I walked down the hallway and stopped outside the bedroom door, unsure why my heart was pounding like it was about to explode. She wasn't there either. But her closet door was open, and half of her clothes were missing. Drawers yanked out. Hangers swinging empty. The top shelf where she kept her small overnight bags? Empty. My chest got tight, but I stayed calm. I didn't call her name. I didn't run through the house like some abandoned husband in a drama flick. I just stood there in the doorway and stared at the emptiness. Then my phone buzzed. It was a message. From her. Amanda, staying at Travis's for a few days. Don't make this into a thing. We both knew it was coming. I didn't respond. Not right away. I just reread it. Over and over. The way she phrased it. We both knew it was coming. Like this was some inevitable storm she had nothing to do with. Like I was a worn-out shirt she finally tossed because it stopped fitting her new lifestyle. Later that night, I got curious. I'd never snooped through her stuff before. Never needed to. But now? Now I had no reason to keep pretending I was above it. So I opened her laptop. No password change. Same one she's used for years. And what I found? God. There were emails. Dozens of them. Some recent. Some dating back months. To before our last anniversary. Before we went to Chicago for that weekend she said meant the world to her. They talked about me in those emails. Her and Travis. Danny still thinks I'm just tired. He's so predictable. He got me roses today, per guy. And then this one from just 2 weeks ago. If he ever finds out, I swear I'll just tell him he made me do it. That he pushed me into your arms. He'll believe it. He always believes what I say. It took everything in me not to put my fist through the screen. She wasn't just cheating, she was crafting a version of me that justified it. Lying to him. Lying to me. Playing both sides like she was some kind of mastermind and we were just idiots orbiting her selfish little son. That was the moment I realized I wasn't heartbroken. I was done. Done pretending. Done defending her to myself. Done waiting for a version of her to come back that died a long time ago. So I started planning. Not revenge. Not theatrics. Just escape. The quiet kind. The kind where, by the time she realizes I'm gone, I'm already 10 steps ahead. Let her rot in her fantasy. Because real life? Real consequences? They were coming. And this time I wasn't waiting up. 2 days passed. She didn't come back. No calls. No apologies. Not even a fake excuse. Just silence and a few lazy text messages like I was a coworker she'd forgotten to CC on something. Amanda, need my straightener. Leaving it in the guest bathroom was rude, by the way. Amanda, also don't touch the dry clean only dress in the laundry room. I'll pick it up. That was it. No emotion. No acknowledgement of what she'd done, what she was doing. The woman I married had become a customer service rep emailing a complaint. And then on the third morning I got a phone call. Unknown number. It was Travis's ex-wife. Her name was Lydia. At first I thought it was a prank, but she said my name like she'd practiced it. Daniel? Yeah? I'm sorry to call you out of nowhere, but I think you and I have something in common. That's when my pulse kicked up again. I stepped outside. Needed air. She sounded calm, too calm, like she'd been through the chaos already and had come out colder on the other side. She's living with him now, Lydia said. They've been messing around since last fall. At least that's when I found out. He swore it was over. Said it was a mistake. Said he loved me. Silence hung between us for a second. He used to talk about you, she continued. He'd laugh. Said she had you wrapped around her finger. Said you were too soft to ever leave her. That hit harder than I expected. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I wish someone had told me, she said. I was you once. Married. Trusting. And he turned me into someone I didn't recognize. I lost 3 years waiting for an apology that never came. Don't be that guy. I thanked her. I didn't know what else to say. There wasn't anything to say. When the call ended, I just stood there. On the porch. Barefoot. Cold. Numb. And that's when it hit me, this wasn't some fling. This wasn't an emotional mistake, a broken marriage that drifted into temptation. This was a setup. Amanda had been building a new life on the side while poisoning the old one. She didn't slip. She stepped out calculated, clean, cruel. So I did what I should have done the night she walked past me humming after crawling out of someone else's bed. I called a lawyer. Her name was Renee. Cool, direct, no nonsense. After I gave her the rundown, she asked me one question. Do you want to stay and fight? Or do you want out? I didn't hesitate. Out. I want out. We started the paperwork the next day. While Amanda was playing house with her new toy, I was dismantling the one she thought I'd cling to forever. 3 more days. That's how long it took her to notice. Amanda texted me at 11:12 a.m. on a Wednesday. Amanda, why is there a lock on the guest room closet? Then 2 minutes later. Amanda, also, where's my mail going? I got a notice from the post office. She sounded annoyed. Not panicked. Not curious. Just inconvenienced. Like a flight delay or a coffee order gone wrong. She still had no clue what I was doing behind the curtain. I'd moved her stuff, the remnants she left behind, into the guest room and locked the door. I redirected her mail to a P.O. box. I wanted her to feel it slowly. No yelling. No accusations. Just absence. Cold, clean, final. The lawyer filed the preliminary separation documents that afternoon. She said Amanda would be served officially in 2 days. But I didn't wait. That night I sent her a single message. Me, you said we both knew it was coming. You were right. Consider this me catching up. No response. I imagined her sitting on Travis's couch, rereading it, confused. Maybe she scoffed. Maybe she laughed. Maybe she didn't care at all. But I knew one thing, she wasn't in control anymore. The next morning she showed up at the house. Didn't call. Didn't knock. She just used her key and walked in like she still lived there. I was ready. She stepped into the living room and saw the boxes, everything she left behind, neatly packed and labeled. Her books, her photos, her stupid diffuser she always said helped her feel balanced. I stacked them like a monument to the version of her that died the night she came home smelling like another man. She stood there, blinking like she didn't understand. What the hell is this? I stood in the hallway, calm as ever. Your things. You're kicking me out? I didn't answer. You're seriously acting like the victim right now, she barked. You left me emotionally long before I left you physically. You're not innocent here. There it was. The shift. The rage. You never tried, she snapped, stepping closer. You stopped listening. You stopped surprising me. What did you expect me to do? Just rot next to a husband who didn't see me anymore? I stared at her. You lied to me. For months. You made fun of me with him. You built a whole new life while pretending you were still in this one. That's not leaving, Amanda. That's erasing. Her face twitched. You think you're better than me, she said, voice rising. You think this little moral high ground makes you noble? Please. You're weak, Daniel. You always were. That's why I had to go find someone who could actually make me feel something. I didn't blink. Then go feel something. Somewhere else. Silence. She wasn't used to that tone from me. For once, I wasn't begging. I wasn't trying to fix it. I was done. You'll regret this, she said finally, stepping back toward the door. No, I said. You will. And she left. No dramatic slam. No tears. Just that same irritating click of her heels as she walked out, for real this time. I locked the door behind her. Then I stood there for a while. Alone. But for the first time in a long time, free. 2 days later, the papers landed in her hands. I wasn't there when it happened. She was served at Travis's condo according to the process server. I'd made sure of that. I wanted her to feel it where she felt most comfortable, where she thought she was untouchable in her little fairy tale escape with the man who helped shatter everything we built. My phone stayed silent for hours. And then, around 9 p.m., the storm hit. Amanda, are you serious right now? Amanda, you blindsided me with divorce papers? What the actual hell, Daniel? Amanda, wow. After everything I've done for you. You're really doing this like a coward. I didn't answer. Not because I was scared. Not because I wanted to keep the upper hand. I didn't answer because I owed her nothing. She followed it with a call. I let it ring. Then another. And another. On the fourth one, I picked up mostly out of curiosity. What, I said flatly. Is this a game to you now? She hissed. You think you're suddenly some cold, calculating man because you filed first? Cute. Real mature. Did you read the papers? Silence. Then you know what it's about, I continued. There's no game. There's just consequences. She scoffed. Don't act like I'm the only one who messed up. You're the one who cheated, Amanda. Because you weren't present, she snapped. You think being in the house physically means you were actually here? You stopped touching me, Daniel. You stopped noticing. You'd come home from work and just sit there like a zombie. And you think the solution was Travis? Her silence this time was longer. I could hear the weight of it through the phone. And then she hit me with the line I still can't believe she had the audacity to say. I wouldn't have gone to him if you hadn't pushed me away. I laughed. Actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so insane how effortlessly she rewrote reality to fit her victimhood. You didn't just go to him, Amanda, I said, my voice steady. You built a second life. You trashed me behind my back. You enjoyed it. I read the emails. I saw everything. That shut her up. I'm done being your fool. The only thing I regret now is thinking you were worth saving. There was a beat of silence. Then she hung up. No goodbye. No apology. Not even fake tears. And that was when it really sunk in how empty she was. I sat alone in the living room again, but this time it didn't hurt. This time it didn't feel like abandonment. It felt like I'd finally taken my first real breath in months. Years, maybe? I turned off my phone. Then I poured myself a drink. Not to drown the pain, but to toast the end of the illusion. Amanda thought she'd be the one to walk away with power. But she'd be walking away with boxes, a broken illusion of superiority, and a man she'll eventually realize isn't half as devoted, patient, or real as the one she betrayed. And me? I had a plan. One that didn't include her name anymore. The first weekend after I filed felt surreal. There were no arguments echoing from the bedroom. No bitter tension over breakfast. No fake small talk over takeout we both pretended to enjoy. Just silence. The good kind. The kind that doesn't feel empty, it feels earned. But then came the twist I didn't expect. That Saturday, I got a knock on the door. It wasn't Amanda. It was Travis. Wearing a tight black jacket, smug expression, and an attitude like he thought he was walking onto a Netflix drama. I didn't speak at first. Just stood there and let him simmer in the silence. He cleared his throat. Look, man. I think we should talk. I tilted my head. You think we need to talk? He stepped forward like he was trying to assert some kind of dominance. Amanda's been a mess since you dropped the papers. She's saying you're being cruel. That you're trying to ruin her life. I couldn't help it, I laughed. A short, sharp, bitter laugh that made him blink. She already ruined it, Travis. I'm just cleaning up the damage. He looked thrown off for a second but recovered with that fake alpha confidence guys like him wear like a costume. She made mistakes, yeah, but come on. You two were dead before I came into the picture. She needed something real. She found you, I said dryly. That's rich. I'm just saying, don't drag her through the mud because your ego's bruised. We're trying to move forward. We're serious. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. You don't know her, I said. You think you do, but you don't. You got the version of her that had an escape plan. Not the one who gaslight, manipulated, and lied for fun. That version's coming for you next. Trust me. He scoffed. You're just bitter. I'm done, I said. There's a difference. Then I smiled. But hey. Enjoy her mood swings, the guilt trips, the constant need for validation. Let me know how real it feels when she starts rewriting your memories too. Travis stared at me like he was trying to figure out if I was bluffing. I wasn't. He turned, muttered something under his breath, and walked back to his car. Drove off fast like he needed to get away from something. I went back inside, locked the door, and leaned against it. There it was, that strange, quiet satisfaction. Not because I got the last word, but because I didn't need to play their game anymore. Let them self-destruct. I'd already left the arena. By the following week, the silence between Amanda and me had turned into full-blown absence. She didn't text. Didn't call. No more tantrums, no half-baked manipulations, no guilt-laced monologues trying to drag me back into the loop. For a while, I thought maybe she'd finally accepted it, finally realized she'd lost control. But that was wishful thinking. Because Amanda doesn't disappear. She waits. And just when you think she's done, she finds a new angle. It came through email. Subject line, we need to talk. I almost deleted it without reading. Almost. But my curiosity got the better of me. So I opened it. Daniel, I've been thinking about everything. And I can't believe how fast you threw us away. I made mistakes, yes. But you didn't exactly make it hard to fall into someone else's arms. I miss you. I miss the way you used to make me laugh when I didn't deserve it. I miss our Sundays. Our stupid shows. You were my best friend once. Doesn't that mean anything? Can we just talk? One last time? In person. Please. I stared at that message for a long time. She'd hit every note. The guilt. The nostalgia. The plea for closure. All wrapped in a neat little package pretending to be vulnerability. But I saw through it. Amanda didn't want closure. She wanted access. She wanted one last shot to spin the wheel in her favor, to flip the narrative and plant just enough doubt in my mind that I'd start wondering if maybe I was being too harsh. But I wasn't playing that role anymore. Still, part of me wanted to see her. One more time. Not to reconcile. Not to talk. Just to look her in the eyes and see if there was even a flicker of the woman I used to love, or if she was completely gone. So I replied. Sure. One coffee. Neutral place. 1 hour. She answered in 2 minutes. Tomorrow at 4. That cafe on Maple. The one with the lattes you always said tasted like melted ice cream. Of course. She picked a place soaked in our history. I showed up 5 minutes early. She walked in 2 minutes late, just enough to make it seem casual. She wore the coat I bought her for Christmas 2 years ago, the one she said made her feel dangerous. It used to turn me on. Now it just looked like a costume. Hey, she said softly, sliding into the seat across from me. I nodded. Said nothing. She ordered a drink. I didn't. I wasn't here to linger. She looked at me like she was studying a stranger. You look different. I feel different. She gave a tiny smile. I can see that. I guess I underestimated you. I raised an eyebrow. Yeah, that makes 2 of us. She looked down, stirred her drink with a tiny wooden stick like it gave her time to prepare whatever speech she'd been rehearsing. I made a mistake, Daniel, she finally said. I thought Travis was filling something you stopped giving. But he's not you. He doesn't understand me the way you did. I didn't react. I'm not asking for you to take me back, she added quickly. I just needed you to know that I know what I threw away. I stared at her for a moment. Then why does it sound like a pitch? She blinked. It's not. But it was. It always is with her. Every word, every tone, every glance calculated. You don't miss me, Amanda, I said. You miss the way I made you feel. The version of yourself you saw through my eyes. But you killed that version. You replaced her with someone I don't even recognize anymore. Her jaw tensed. I stood up, slow and calm. 1 hour, I said. It's been 26 minutes. That's all you get? I walked out without looking back. That was the last time I saw her face in person. And I didn't feel grief. I felt clean. It had been over a month since the papers were filed. 2 weeks since the coffee shop. And exactly 5 days since she sent her last message, just a heart emoji. No words. No context. Just a single, pathetic red shape floating in my notifications like some weak tether trying to pull me back into orbit. I didn't reply. That silence between us, once heavy and unbearable, had finally turned into peace. But Amanda? Amanda thrives on attention. When she realized I wasn't playing anymore, she shifted tactics again. This time, she turned public. Friends started reaching out. Mutual ones. Some distant, some fake close. All confused. Hey, man. Amanda said you left her suddenly. She's been saying you shut down emotionally and didn't even try to talk. She told me you were cold for no reason. I'm not trying to take sides, but it's not like you to go dark. The smear campaign had begun. She wanted sympathy. Validation. To flip the script in everyone else's eyes since she lost her grip on mine. She posted pictures online, laughing, radiant, like she was thriving post-divorce. New hair. New outfits. Group photos with captions like, sometimes you have to let go to grow. Energy doesn't lie. Protect your peace. I didn't react. Let her play her part. But I wasn't going to let her rewrite my story. So I invited one of our longtime mutual friends, Mike, over for a drink. We used to double date with him and his wife. He'd been quiet through all this, watchful. Neutral. We sat on the back porch, 2 beers in, when I finally told him everything. Not the sanitized version Amanda was peddling. The real story. The late-night returns. The smug confessions. The emails. The lies. The complete emotional hit job she pulled on me while trying to reinvent herself as the wounded one. Mike didn't say much at first. He just listened, brow furrowed deeper with every detail. Finally, he let out a low whistle. Damn, man. I had no idea. She never said it like that. She wouldn't, I said. She's not trying to tell the truth. She's trying to build a new character. He nodded slowly. You want me to set the record straight? I shook my head. No. I don't care what she tells people anymore. The truth's not for them. It's for me. I meant it. Reputation meant nothing now. Peace did. But still, word travels. A few days later, she tried one last Hail Mary. Amanda, just curious, was any of it real for you? And that one? That one almost got me. Because despite everything, there was a small part of me that remembered the girl I met at 24. The one who used to dance barefoot in the kitchen. The one who once cried during a road trip just because a song reminded her of her dad. The one I loved with every ounce of myself before she mutated into someone unrecognizable. So I typed the truth. Me, yeah. It was real. Until you made it fiction. I blocked her after that. Not out of anger, but because I had nothing left to say. And for once, neither did she. It's been 3 months. The papers are finalized. The names are split. The bank accounts sorted. No kids, thank God. Just memories, some good, most poisoned, and the haunting realization that I shared 7 years of my life with someone who looked me in the eye while actively carving out a future that didn't include me. I've started sleeping through the night again. That first morning I woke up without that familiar weight in my chest. I just lay there for a while, listening to the hum of the ceiling fan, the birds outside. It was like my brain couldn't process the absence of noise. The peace didn't feel real at first. It felt borrowed. But now? Now it feels like mine. I redecorated the house. Not dramatically. No need to set fire to everything. I just stripped it down to something honest. No more photos of vacations that turned into arguments. No more scented candles she used to light like they'd erase tension. No more empty gestures trapped in frames. I even got rid of the dining table. It always felt like a prop anyway, set perfectly, barely used, a place for appearances but never connection. Now I eat at the kitchen counter. Simple. Quiet. Real. People ask me sometimes if I'm okay, if I'm dating again, if I'd ever consider getting married after all that. And I tell them the same thing every time. I'm not rebuilding to be with someone new. I'm rebuilding to remember who I was before I got redefined by someone else's chaos. That's the part no one tells you about betrayal, how it reshapes you. You walk different. Think different. Trust becomes the slippery thing that you hold with gloves on even when someone's offering it back to you clean. But here's the twist. I'm not angry anymore. Not at her. Not at myself. Not even at Travis, who's probably getting a front row seat to the same emotional games I did, just with newer packaging. I'm grateful. Not in some sappy, look how much I've grown way, but in a real, grounded, raw way. Because Amanda showed me exactly what it looks like when someone uses love like a ladder, climbing when they need it, kicking it away when they find a shinier view. And because of that, I'll never mistake performance for partnership again. So, to anyone out there reading this, if your gut's been whispering that something's wrong, listen to it. If your partner makes you feel invisible while demanding to be worshipped, that's not love. If someone cheats, lies, manipulates, and then tries to sell you your own pain as a shared experience, walk away. And don't look back. Healing doesn't happen in a straight line.